thank you for coming. I'm not a speaker, I'm not a linguist, but you're gonna get what you're gonna get. I got clean on July 26, 2011, and that was 12th or 14th or
12th.
something attempt.
12?
Something like that. It's not an easy journey. It took me a lot of back and forth, you know. There was 14 times in jail, 5 treatment centers, and stabbings and all that stuff. And you know, that's all the result of the lifestyle that I was looking into, right? So let me tell you a little bit about what I've learned, like from my childhood. So from a young age, I didn't feel I belonged in society, right? I remember running away from home, like small, you know, packing a bag, and just, you know, didn't get along with people, and you know, didn't fit in well, and you know, I was always motivated though. I was always doing things. I wanted to, you know, renovate my treehouse and you know, get friends over to do this and do that. Like I didn't like to play hockey, and like I like to be productive. And you know, that stems back, I think, to the male role models in my family. My uncle and my grandfather and my dad were always doing things, right? So I guess that's how I learned how to interact. And I didn't make friends very easily. And the friends that I did make easily are usually easier friends to make, or not the kinder sort. And you know, from a young age, I found that negative attention is a lot easier to get than positive attention, and I liked the easy way out. Right, that was my goal, was to have things come easy. And later on, as an adult, I realized that the easy way is actually a lot harder, because it doesn't last and you have to keep doing it over and over again. And that's the definition of insanity, right? So you keep doing the same easy way over and over, trying to find pleasure in that, and eventually you become insane. Very fitting. So you know, as a kid, I had all these emotions, right? And you know, the thing about our society, we don't get taught how to deal with our emotions. And I learned how to stuff my emotions and just keep going and just keep going. And you know, my mom was always trying to figure out where I fit in, right? And you know, looking back, I think as a child, we need to find our own way to fit in, right? And I had so much issues and so much problems that it was very hard for me to get in touch with myself. You know, dealing with the emotions, I just learned how to stuff, right? I learned how to stuff my emotions from a young age. And these are all perfect characteristics to go into the negative world, right? The underworld, you could say. And I don't remember what age, but from a young age, I idolized the bikers and the mafia and this brotherhood of lifestyle, you know, like this camaraderie that I've been searching for. And, you know, that's kind of the lifestyle that I started going into, you know. I never really joined a gang or did any of that, but I had like the crew of guys that I rolled with, and, you know, we did all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was fun, you know, in high school. You know, we mess around a little bit, and you know, my biggest problem is I don't know how to do things a little bit. You know, I don't. You know, people tell me all the time, they're like, "Oh, just, you know, do." Like, my partner, she'll eat a bag of chips and put it away, and I will kill the whole bag. I eat Oreo cookies by the row. There's no little bit for me. Anything. And this is from a young age, like I would either be all in school or all in renovating my tree house or all in whatever I was doing. There's no like splitting it up, compartmentalizing my brain. So of course, when I started doing this, illegal activity, like everybody sold a little bit of weed when they were a kid or this or that. Like I took it upon myself to go up against the Jamaican cartel. That seemed like a good thing to do. And this is just to show you, I wasn't a bad person, I was misguided. And I was looking for all the right things in the wrong places, which is addiction, right? And our society makes it readily available, especially living in the areas that I lived in, it was right there, right? And, with being this lost, motivated, impressionable person that I was, I found my way into that lifestyle. And by God's grace, I didn't find my way deep enough in that I couldn't get out. And there was many instances where I would go to jail or something would happen, and I should have died countless times. And the whole time these things are happening, my mom had to move because I had guys coming to the house putting axes to my throat. I had guys chasing us down Oakwood with AK-47s and doing like things that you don't think happen in the city. I got cops that pulled balaclavas on and handcuffed me and beat the snot out of me. And then, the things that I've learned that about society that would make you want to like leave and go live in a forest, right? But for me, this was like exciting. It's something to live for, right? I had no purpose. My purpose was to get more of what? I don't know, but it was just more, right? I just needed more of something because I was disturbed inside, right? I didn't have any purpose. And this grew, and eventually this was my life, right? Like I remember going to family dinners and setting up drug deals down the street, and this is just my life, right? And I didn't see anything wrong with it, right? Because this is, in my mind, I thought that I was gonna be Scarface or have these grandiose ideas. Meanwhile, I couldn't even afford an apartment. I would go into people's homes and sell drugs out of their apartment and give them drugs for free, and that's how I would pay my rent. And this continued, and the whole while, I'm not an iota of what it was doing to my family, my cousins, my sister, anybody, right? It's just when you're so trapped in self, you can't see anything past your own face, right? Because you feel so disconnected from yourself that you can't even bear to be in society. You're not able to look at anybody else, right? And that's honestly, that's no different from addiction to everyday society, because one of the things that I think our society is way too stuck in self. And addiction there's different levels of addiction, right? For myself, even outside of drugs, I can have a very addictive personality, and through the years, it's been so long I don't remember a lot of the bullshit, and the bullshit isn't really important. It's more the feelings that came along with it, and eventually the feelings of lost dissipated because I embodied that lost, and I think everything changed when I was beaten enough that I became teachable. And through all those years of pain and torment and through school, I was never teachable. Many years in school, I was never teachable. And it wasn't until the last time around that I became teachable, and I was able to I think I got a little bit of brain damage too, in the midst of it. That in recovery, a seed was planted years before. From every time that I'd go to jail, I'd wake up and I'd realize like, oh, this is not where I'm supposed to be, right? A couple days sober in jail, you're like, I don't fit in here, and it's no longer cool. And the guys that are there for 5-10 years, they make you understand that this is not your home, right? This is their home. And fortunately, God took me through all this stuff and protected me. And as I got clean, I had the seed planted and I knew what to do. And I went to treatment. And I didn't know what I wanted, but I know what I didn't want, right? And what I didn't want was to continue the way I was going. And what I knew was that I had to go to treatment. And I went to treatment, and they told me, after a month of being there, they told me I was ready to go, ready to stay home. I went on an overnight, and I went back to the treatment center and told them I'm not ready to go. This is not happening. And I stayed another month, and this, for the first time in my life, I was scared of my own actions. I was honest of my own intentions, and I was able to open myself up to something greater than myself. And that's the basis of recovery, is opening yourself up to a higher power and learning how to be selfless in a way, and eliminating the self from the addiction, right? Because as soon as I bring myself into the equation, shit can get chaotic, right? If I'm just showing up and letting the outcome up to whatever, whoever, then it alleviates me out of the equation, and then I'm good, If I'm not thinking, everybody's good. When I start thinking is when there's a problem. I like, the things that make me happy are food and people and family, and all these things I realized were the things that I was searching for years ago. It just took 10 years of finding myself to be actually know where I'm at, right? And the thing about recovery is it's not an easy job. It's a consistent job, and over the years I've learned a lot. I've grew a lot. I've done a lot of damage. I've gone up and gone down, and the main thing is that I don't pick up, right? And if I don't pick up, I have a fighting chance at not getting high, right? Because the thing that I learned about society is that from a young age I was entitled to feel like every day was good. I think that's something else I learned from society, that we put a lot of band-aids on things, and again, I do things a little bit more extreme than everybody else, so I wanted to feel good all the time, right? I was not okay with not feeling good. And I remember my first couple weeks in treatment center, I heard an ex-biker speak, and he said he had to learn how to enjoy the bad days to make the good days feel even better. And I started learning how to enjoy the bad days, and just, even though I'm having a bad day, it's not the end of the world. It's not, I can feel bad and still be okay, right? I had to learn how to live a happy lifestyle, and it's not about the end goal, right? There's no end goal. The end goal is death, for you. We all have the same end goal. We're gonna die, It just depends on what happens there, right? And through recovery, I've learned, I've grown into who I am. it's still a family disease, and I've affected my family a lot, but today I'm trying to affect in a different way. I enjoy bringing the family together and doing these big dinners and giving back to people, and those are the things that I think I was lacking. I have fond memories of a kid having like these big dinners and all this stuff, but the main thing is emotions, and how to deal with emotions, and how to regulate your emotions, and how to be a good person. And these are the things that I think I was missing, right? And today, I'm far from perfect, and I still have days where I don't want to talk to people, or people piss me off, and it's about what I do with them, right? And the recovery journey, it's not easy, and it's getting a lot worse. I sponsor some people, and I'm in meetings regularly, and the things that I see today, I had the blessing of having some good morals instilled into me from when I was young, and that got me through. But a lot of the children today, I'm noticing, they don't got that. Social media and all this stuff. Addiction today has changed. Its face has changed, right? And recovery's gotten a lot harder for people to snap out of it, because our whole society is just, it promotes addiction, right? Whether it's stimulants through coffee or social media, or we're all stimulated all the time. We're stimulated, and even if people don't find drugs, our society is riddled with addiction, right? Sugar, there's so many things. I'm a chef, and I can barely eat half the things that I cook. When I do eat it, I feel like shit. It tastes great. Everything I make tastes so good, but when you have health problems, you can't eat it, right? That's another thing that I kind of I think saved me as well. Is I found out I had cystic fibrosis, and I had a lot of friends that died from their lungs recrystallizing together. And I think that I never did, because I had cystic fibrosis, and my lungs were just mucousy, and it saved my life, because I used a lot. Today, I'm really blessed, because to have 12 years sober and clean is not common. I have lots of friends that have gotten to 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and they go back and they don't come back. Right? And I don't see it. I don't see myself. When I say 12 years, it doesn't seem like 12 years, because I don't like to dwell on it, because I try to live for today. I try to live for the moment, and in the midst of running a business and catering and being responsible for people's paychecks, it's very hard to live in the moment. I have to plan all these things, and I'm lucky I have a partner that's in the program, and I've managed to have recovery in every aspect of my life, because when I don't have that in my face, it's very easy to forget, right? I'm so far away from it, but it's always sitting on my shoulder. It's always sitting there, and I never want to go back. I think I would die pretty quickly. My body isn't what it was 12 years ago, and the way that I use, I would be dead pretty quick. I'm grateful that my mom is able to come through on the other side, and all my family members and everything, and we're here, and it's all about feelings, right? The whole thing is about feelings, and if you can learn how to feel, but the hardest part for me was actually breaking free from my family, right? Because when I was in my heart of doing harm, I saw family as a crutch, right? I needed to be left with my own devices to grow myself. And that's one of the hardest things about today's society, is that you need to leave the addict to die for them to get well, right? Because if I didn't get cut, if she didn't cut the cord and let me to figure my shit out, I would just keep sucking, right? You have to cut the cord. And for me, I didn't get better till my mom told me it's enough, right? And that, I remember my dad saying he was written me off like I was gonna die. And that's what it is, right? If you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And the only difference is when you choose to live, it's no longer on your family, it's no longer on the people around you, it's on you. And that's what the addict needs, Me as an addict, I need to know how to stand on my own 2 feet and have a connection with a higher power and be a good person. And nobody's gonna teach me that. I'm sorry, but I'm a stubborn person, and nobody's gonna teach me how to be, right? I have to learn how to on my own. And my mom spent my childhood trying to teach me how to be, and it didn't work. It's like me trying to teach my employees how to cook like I do. It doesn't work. It's like banging your head on the wall and trying to force somebody to understand your will. You need to teach them how to have their own will, right? And I think that's the only way that I was able to come through this, is by God's grace, because I should have died. And with the things that I did, I probably should have died 10 times over, right? And today I have everything, my business is growing, it grows slowly, and I've learned that nothing good comes easy, right? Nothing good comes easy, and I fight, and I fight, and I fight, and sometimes I lose track of the fact that it's the journey that matters and not the end result, and I need to take a step back and learn how to enjoy more, because I could die tomorrow, right? We don't know. All the things that are going on overseas, and you don't know, right? And our society is so focused on the material and the more that we forget. And the most important thing in life, in my opinion, is family and growing, and what we can contribute to society, right? And that's I found some purpose. That's pretty much what recovery has given to me. It gave me some purpose, and that's why I don't get high, because my life has a purpose. In this past winter, I'd lost purpose, and our medical system fed me a little bit of drugs, and all of a sudden I got a taste of what it was like to be outside of my body, and the difference was I didn't like it this time, and I was in a downward spiral in the winter, and I wasn't going to meetings, and I wasn't doing the things I needed to do, and I got a little bit of fentanyl given to me, and it kind of put the cap on it, and my higher power intervened and put all these God shots or miracles or whatever you could say in my way, and reminded me that He's got my back, And since then, my life has turned around, right? And it's all perception, right? But I need to have that connection with something that is outside of me, and you know, my life is great. Right? My life is great today, and my mom is proud, and we don't always have the best relationship, but you know, it's honest and it's real, and that's all we can strive for, right? You know, you can't go live in the past, and you can't blame. All you can do is try to be a better person today, and you know, my mom manifests her feelings through these pictures, and you know, I manifest my feelings through my food. Right? We're blessed that we have an outlet, right? Because a lot of people just keep that shit in, and it turns into cancer and all kinds of toxic stuff, right? So hopefully, if I keep cooking, it'll keep me cancer free, and you all can enjoy. And I think that's probably it for me. I hope somebody got something out of it. I'm not the best speaker, but I just kind of open myself up, and whatever comes out, comes out. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and you know, if everybody's struggling with a family member or a friend or somebody that has addiction, you know, the best thing I can say is compassion with, you know, taking yourself out of the equation, right? Because as soon as you put yourself into it, the other person can take that, and it's very difficult, right? So sometimes the best thing to do is to put an arm out, with, you know, give them a hug, or I don't know. It's very difficult, but there is hope. But it needs to come from them, right? It needs to come from them, and that's the only way. The only way is to let the addict, and that's why Narcotics Anonymous worked for me, because it's one addict helping another, and I could relate to these people. Right? I could relate to them. I wasn't judged sometimes, but I judge myself. So yeah, that's about it.